Hello everyone, I am CorporateNapps and welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to speak with you guys about why people cut or take down their locks. Now, for those of you who do not know, I had a previous set of locks that were started with 2-strand twist, and they were larger than this. They were about pencil size when I started them, and when they evolved, they were still around pencil size, and I combined them all and they ended up being slightly over standard pencil size. I took that set of locks down around 2011. If you look at some old videos that I have on this page, you'll see information regarding the takedown. So there is some experience on this subject matter here for me. So before we get started, please remember, if you like this video, thumbs it up, be sure to subscribe, and of course hit that little bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, for those of you who want a more in-depth look at my locks, feel free to join me on Instagram. Go ahead and follow me there. You can look at my banner, and you'll see the Instagram logo that you can click on, as well as the link is below in the description box. Okay, so let's jump right into it. As always, I have my notes down here, so you will see me look down periodically. The reasons people cut or take down their locks. These are in no particular order, by the way. The first would be they forget about the maintenance that's associated with natural hair or relaxers. So one of the things that I've talked about in previous videos is that, one of the main things for me with loose natural hair was the amount of time it took to detangle, condition, do all the things, style related to my loose natural hair. I liked my hair to look a particular type of way, so I put a good bit of time into the maintenance. I did not have the type of hair where you could just comb through it very quickly. I have in different parts of my head for A, B, C hair, for A, for B, for C hair, and it's not the type of hair that you can just easily comb through. So wash day for me was truly wash day. Like if I started Friday after work, I was doing it until, the end of the night or late into midnight. And that was just to take me into, maybe doing 2-strand twist and, prepping that for having that in my hair for a few days and releasing it after a few days. So a lot of time related to it. With relaxers, those who have locked and are ready to go back to relaxers, they forget that there are, unless they're doing their hair themselves, they forget about the salons and how many hours you're spending in the salon every week or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, however often you go, right? So they forget about the maintenance and time associated with loose or natural hair. I'm sorry, loose, natural, or relaxed hair. Whereas with locks, micro locks, you have the ability to, if you want, get up and go, right? Wash day for most of us is washing while you're in the shower or in the sink, however you choose to, and you're done, unless you're opting to put some type of style like rollers or braid outs, and that's usually pretty quick. So, and you're not doing it every few days or you're not doing it every day, right? So they forget about the maintenance and time associated with loose natural hair or relaxers, right? If they're going back to those things. Number two, they forget the cost associated with loose natural hair or relaxers. Again, some people will take their locks out and they're strictly going back to their loose natural hair, and some go back to relaxers. Here's the thing, I've mentioned before in previous videos, when I was loose natural, and I was loose natural for a number of years before my first set of locks, when I was loose natural, I purchased every product under the sun. Everything that said your hair can do this, that, and the other. I did that my first maybe 2 years of being loose natural, probably 3 years of being loose natural, because you don't necessarily know what works and you want to see if something may work because it worked on this for a person's hair, all of those things. And so I had under my sink on one side was just filled with products. Okay, so there's cost associated with that, because I mean it's people are capitalizing on the ladies who want to have their hair natural but also styled a certain type of way, right? And also with relaxers, the cost associated. You're going to the salons, you're when you go to the salon, you're not just getting a relaxer, you're getting a style. You're also most likely getting a cut, all of those things. If you're getting color, all of those things become very heavy on cost. Whereas with locks, you're typically buying your shampoo, whatever your lock tool is. If you're a DIY, if you're going to a loctician, you're normally going every 4 to 6 weeks. So that's a one-time cost, and everything else you're pretty much doing yourself, right? In between the locks, if you're not getting your locks retightened, if you're not a DIYer. So the cost can tend to be substantially lower when you go from loose natural hair or relaxers to locks. So people forget about that part of it once they've been locked a certain amount of time, that there's a cost associated with being loose natural or locked. Number 3, the reason why people cut or take down their locks, they just want straight hair. They want straight hair from the root to ends. There's nothing wrong with that. You can obviously, if you look at my previous video, have straight hair with locks or with Microlocs. You see that my hair is straight there, but it's certainly not straight as if it were from root to ends, right? So they want to be able to comb through their hair and have that relaxed look, that straight look where you can wrap it up at night, pull it down, and you're essentially, have that sleek, straight look. So that's another reason. The other part of the straight hair is a lot of people want to do a short pixie cut. So we've spoken before about how with locks, you have the ability to get it cut into a style. There are locks that I've seen people with locks with these gorgeous cuts who have this sort of slanted bob look where it's short in the back and long in the front, or they have the very straight bob look. Looks great, but it's difficult to duplicate a short pixie look with locks, and most people with locks tend to not want to go for that look because they want the length in order to keep a bit of versatility. And so when you cut your locks into, say, a pixie cut, then you're stuck with it, if you will, until it grows out, unless you opt to do something like weaves or wigs or what have you, for those who are interested in doing that over their locks. So they want a straight hair look, okay? Number 4, they think it does not go with everything. So there's a previous video where I talked about locks in corporate America, right? And so a lot of people with locks will tend to, and natural hair in general, let me clarify, will tend to feel at a certain point that the locks don't go with their profession, or it doesn't go with a certain style they want. They feel like there's something a bit more earthy, if you will, about locks that don't go with their sort of overly polished, pulled together type of look. And that's a stereotype about locks, that there's sort of this earthiness and that there's this au natural sort of what do you call it? Someone who's into a different type of earthiness, I'll say, than the norm. And as you can tell from what you've seen on the internet, there are those with locks who do everything from wearing it to corporate, to playtime, to time with family, and they pull whatever look off they want. If they're doing some cute updo that they want to do, if they want it straight, if they want it curled, if they want it pulled back in a bun, they're able to do that and achieve whatever look they want. So, but however, there are people who just sort of naturally feel like that look, if you will, of locks does not go with a certain type of style. Anyone, I will tell you, who feels that way, let me know and I will get you some pictures that will show you that locks can be pulled together to do whatever look you're trying to achieve, or go with whatever style or aesthetic you're looking to achieve. Okay? So the next one, reasons people cut and take down their locks. Number 5, they don't think, they don't keep them in long enough for them to mature and evolve. So this is a big one. A lot of people get locks, and I run into people all the time, or people in my family who they see my locks and they go, I want my hair to look like that. I want those types of locks. But what they don't get is locks are not an immediate. You are not going to get locks installed or install your locks and get the same look that you're seeing on videos or pictures of people who've been locked for even a year, let alone 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of locks, right? So it takes time. So many times people will get, frustrated or impatient with that beginning stage, and not because it's unruly or any of those things. It depends on the person's hair, but because they think when they look in the mirror, they want it to look a certain way, and it just doesn't happen that way. Locks are about an evolution. They are going to evolve into whatever it is your hair allows them to evolve into. And it just doesn't happen overnight. Even when people say things like, I want my hair to look like this person's hair. Well, you can start the same way. You can start with the braids, the twists, sister locks, whatever that is. It is difficult and very unlikely that one set of locks will look identical to another set of locks. Even if you're twins, okay, who started at the same time with the same method, it's just not the norm for heads to look absolutely identical. It has to do everything from density, porosity, thickness, so many things that it's just unlikely. So the next reason is they think that when they take their hair down, and this is for those who take it down, not cut it, but they think that when they take their locks down, it's going to be the same length as their locks. So they think that their hair will be the same length as their locks when they take the hair down. Here's the thing, keep in mind that locks by their very nature are formed because shed hair is falling into your locks, or falling but not falling out onto the ground or on the sink or on the floor, right? So when you comb your hair as a relaxed person or a loose natural, whenever you comb or brush or do any manipulation to your hair is shedding every single day, some more than others, but it's shedding every single day. And so that shed hair, when it comes to lock, is stuck in each individual lock. And that's a part of the lock method, where that hair is coiling and dropping and coming into each lock from the root, or from breaking off from other parts of the hair and forming that lock. Okay, so if you see that the length is where it is, is where it is with the lock, it does not mean that when you comb that lock out, taking it down, however you take it down, minus cutting, it does not mean that your hair will be the same length as the locks. I will tell you, during my takedown, I started with a head full of natural hair with my previous locks. I started with a head full of natural hair. It was probably down to here once stretched out. And by the time I ended with my locks, I was actually about here, I think, with my locks. I think I kept them in 3 years, or just shy of 3 years, or just over 3 years. I can't remember, with my previous set. And when I took the locks down, I still had a good amount of length. I mean, they may have been up to here in comparison after the takedown, and I was very careful about taking them down. I made sure I did it myself because I wanted to salvage as much hair as I could. But after that takedown, there is hair that still needs to be cut. There's hair that still needs to be pruned and ensure that it's at its healthiest. And so even if you have a lot of hair left, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the same length of hair as you had in the lock. So that's one of the reasons why people tend to take down their hair. They think, oh, my hair is suddenly here, I'm going to take it down and have this long, loose, natural hair that will be the same length. You may end up still have a lot of hair, let me clarify, but it usually is not going to end up not healthy anyway. It's usually not going to end up healthy and the same length as your locks, okay? Especially if you've had them for years specifically. If you've had them for a couple of months, 6 months, you probably can retain all of the length that you had, okay? The next reason is thinning and breaking. Plain and simple, and we've talked in a previous video about why locks may be breaking, but thinning and breaking is another reason why people will cut or take down their locks. And sometimes they start over, sometimes they say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it unlocked and have loose natural hair, or they go back to relaxers, whatever the case may be. But that is reason number 7. Reason number 8. So I spoke earlier about how people look at locks as sort of this earthy type of thing. Well, one of the reasons that a lot of people take down their lock, or the 8th reason I should say, is to remove negative energy. So a lot of people have a very spiritual connection to their locks. It all depends on the individual. For some people, it's just another hairstyle. For some people, it's hair that they adore. But some people actually have what they feel is a spiritual connection to their locks. And so they want to, if they have gone through some things, if they've wanted to sort of start over, if you will, because of some negative things that have happened in their past or during the time that they've had their locks, they opt to cut them off or take them down to release that energy. And that's something that I hear a lot from people who have sort of a spiritual connection to their locks. And then the 9th and final reason that people take down or cut their locks is they want a fresh start. Similar to the release of the negative energy, they want a fresh start, something different. This just happens to not be related to anything negative. They just want something that is different than they've had for the last however many months or years. I have seen lockers who've had 15-year-old locks and they cut it off, and it's just a restart for them, a freshening. Some of them almost immediately go back into locks, and some of them, they keep a short cropped look or they keep their thickened natural hair, but it's just a matter of wanting a fresh start. No different than someone who says, I've had long hair my whole life, right? I've always been the girl with the long hair. I now want a pixie cut, right? And as you know, that can be very, very, very dramatic in its look. And it's usually almost an awakening to the person. You see them move differently. They tend to deal with things differently. It's almost a washing away of the old and bringing in the new. And so that's it, guys. Those are the reasons that people cut or take down their locks. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope everyone is being safe, and I hope you guys take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.